We're going to go ahead and get started. I am recording, and if anyone joins us later, then we can always answer their questions, but I'm going to go ahead and get started. We're so glad that you are here. Welcome to Ignite Learning Academy's virtual open house, and this is specifically going to be an open house geared towards our Spark program, which is our gifted program. This is your presenters today, plus we also have a special speaker with us today, she is our school counselor, Adrienne Meeker. But today I'm Banji Denman, head of school for our school.
And I'm Nicole Peterson, VP of Operations.
And we are basically here to answer all the questions, give you as much information as you could possibly desire, probably more, about our school. But we'll present to you and then we'll have time for questions at the end. Thanks for being here. Okay, a little bit about Ignite. We are an online school that is a private school, and we serve kindergarten through 12th grades, and we are online by design. We've been teaching online school for all of us combined decades of experience of online education. We specifically truly believe in individualized learning for every single student that walks through our door. So you will see that no matter what grade they're in, whether they're gifted, whether they have special education services that are needed or mainstreamed, all students do get individualized education here. And we really pride ourselves on our flexible learning model with your schedule and your structure that you set for your students, the pacing that they get to choose, that's a part of the individualization. And we will help you build a schedule around your family and your students' needs. We always like to tell families right from the start that we are fully accredited, basically meaning through WASC, our school, wherever you were to go, whether it be another school or on to college, university, anyone is going to recognize the credits and the transcripts that are received at our school. We are high school, all of our high school courses, if you happen to have a high school student or an athlete, we are NCAA Division 1 and 2 approved, so that's a very important thing for the students that are wanting to go on to college and university after, that are athletes. And we also did get our Best School Niche Award in 2022 and this year in 2023. So we are very, very proud to state that we got the Best School Award. A little bit about our staff. We really do feel that our staff sets us apart from other schools. All of our staff are certified teachers in their area and of course content. Most of our teachers have master's degrees or even higher at the doctoral level. They all have extensive online teaching experience, and every single one of our staff members believe in individualized education. That's something that's very, very important to us, that they believe in our mission. And our hiring practices truly set us apart. We, when you notice that we have an open position or we've grown and we need to hire another teacher, we truly take our time and go through quite a few candidates until we find the best of the best that meets our culture and our academic style. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the role of the learning coach. That's likely all of you that are listening today. The role of the learning coach is specifically absolutely not the teacher. We like to let you know that right up front. We don't expect you to do the teaching. We have certified teachers that will do that are very, very good at teaching their curriculum and engaging the students. But you do have a very, very important role at our school. And the main things are, I like to call it the 3 C's: the communication, the schedule, the structure that's going on at home, all of that, everything that your student will need on the other side of the computer, we really need your support with. So just helping your child, if they're a kindergartner, obviously you're going to give them more time and attention than you would a 12th grader. And so you can see the time commitment that's off to the left-hand side of the page. That's just kind of a range, but you can see if it's a kindergarten through 2nd grade student, that's daily. You're likely going to be giving them a commitment of 1.5 hours to 2 hours every day. Whereas if you have a high school student, it might just be checking their work, making sure they're following their schedule. You're just more of a support system at that point and a check-in. Here's a quote from one of our families. We love getting quotes from our current students and our current learning coaches. This learning coach says, "Ignite is such a perfect fit for my children. They are allowed to work at their ability level while still being able to interact with peers. The combination ensures not only academic success, but social success as well. The teachers have open lines of communication for both parents and students and reach out to offer assistance, encouragement, and praise. The teachers reached out to me before the semester began in order to find out my children's strengths, weaknesses, likes, and dislikes. They continue to reach out through the semester to check up on how we're feeling about their classes, work, etc. All of the teachers are happy, engaging, and motivate my children to be the best versions of themselves. My family is excited to have found Ignite Learning Academy." We, of course, love hearing this, but this is what we strive for day in, day out at our ILA staff team family. So this is very nice to hear. Okay, so we do have 3 big programs. Ignite Learning Academy has a mainstream general education for elementary, which is K-5 at our school. Middle school is grades 6, 7, and 8, and high school is grades 9 through 12. Then we have 2 branches of our school outside of that for our gifted students, which is what today is mostly about. Spark, which is kindergarten through 12th grade. That is a self-contained program. And also our special education program, which is called the Fire Academy, which also goes grades K through 12. All of our grade levels will have 4 core classes for every student. So we always make sure students are enrolled in math, our English language arts, science, and social studies or history. Students may enroll in up to 2 electives. If you have an elementary school student, we actually say, hey, why don't you try most of our clubs? We have a very vast list of clubs. That way, if they can give a lot of their time and attention to those 4 big courses, and they can kind of dabble in some different interests before they make a commitment that's for a grade. Or maybe they're really, really interested in something that isn't elective, but they only want to do 1. That's fine too. Then in middle school, same thing. Many people think that middle school, they must take electives, and they don't have to. We offer quite a few electives at the middle school level for anywhere from foreign language to science, technology, engineering, and math to, oh goodness, cooking, like there's lots of different things that they can enroll in as elective, coding, programming, things of that nature. However, they don't have to take electives until they get to high school. Once they get to high school, Mrs. Meeker will definitely be setting up a graduation plan for your student. And then that's when those electives become mandatory. They need to have at least 2 years full of the exact same foreign language, year 1 and year 2. And then also they need to make sure they have fine arts requirements. She'll walk you through that whole process, but electives become mandatory at the high school level. Okay, here's an example of what's a day in a life at ILA look like. We get this question quite a bit. This example could be the exact opposite of what you're looking for, and it really depends on where you live. I always like to say that right off the bat. So we run our schedule. We're in a lot of the states. I think we're in like almost 40 of the 50 states. So we run our schedule starting on Pacific time, no earlier than 8 a.m. Pacific time. Well, depending on what time of the year that is, that could be 11 o'clock right now, Eastern time. So if you live in California, you might be up and early, starting live classes early. But if you're on the East Coast, your live classes might not start until 11 a.m. Now, depending on you and your child's structure and how you like to set things up at home, you still might be very much a morning person, which is going to look like this schedule that you see in front of us. And by all means, get a lot of work done and then go to live class, and then you're done for the day. But some of our East Coast families absolutely adore us because we do give them the opportunity to have a late start, and they start their classes at 11 and then they do all of their asynchronous work. So really, there's a lot of flexibility, as we said earlier, but this example up on the screen gives you just a gist of, if you are a morning person, have a set time, no matter what time it is, to have a wake up time for your student. This is when we're going to eat breakfast. We're going to do all of our personal hygiene, sit down, get ready, do our morning routines, so you're done. We've found no matter what the age is, it's very important for students to have that set schedule. So no matter when they're starting their day, make sure they have that set time of like, this is my go time. I need to get ready. Then at 8:15, this example shows you just starting an asynchronous, logging into our learning management system, which we use Canvas, and starting their language arts lesson that's on the calendar for the day. But that's not live with the teacher. Then at 9 o'clock, they would attend a live class. Then 10 o'clock, taking a break or going to another live class. 11 o'clock, maybe working on a math and a science. Synchronous, that would be just on their own independently in the learning management system. Taking a nice lunch break, maybe having an extended break where they're doing some reading or going to bounce on a trampoline. And then finally in the afternoon, attending a cooking club. I love that one. That's the one that I lead. Or going to a foreign language elective class. Most of our electives are offered in the later afternoon, so our core classes can be done in the morning time. If you don't mind typing in chat, if you're an East Coast family or a family that lives on the Pacific time zone, what state are you in? That might help us out to know, to give you a better gist of your day. That would be helpful. But that's an example of a day in a life, and there are many, many times. Oh, great. So you're on Mountain Time. I'm in Arizona, so we actually are on the same time right now. So this schedule could actually suit you very well. However, if you're like, wow, we are not morning people, you might actually start with a live class, which will be 8 or 9 a.m. in the morning, and then do most of your asynchronous later, or you could wait in the afternoon. And our live classes are not mandatory. They are highly suggested for just getting engaged, and we recommend them, but you can always watch the recording later. If you have, let's say your student is a competitive gymnast and they have gym every morning, well, then you can always have an opportunity to watch that recording later and do schoolwork in the afternoon. We do have that scenario with many of our students. I'm just going to skim over our elementary, what elementary looks like. Elementary, you can see everything listed that's available on the screen in our curriculum. And if you had a K1 student, they do get certain manipulatives sent to them, like for circle time, morning meetings every morning, and there will be certain workbooks that are sent to them. Digitally, they can always print out anything that's available to them online to make sure that they actually are writing out all of their math problems and things like that. That's important in the younger years, so it's not as much online. They're able to actually do workbooks. And this is just an example of what those early elementary circle time kits look like. They have a lot of fun every morning to start class. We also do a kindergarten graduation. They get mailed a cap and gown, a little celebration Bruno, and we have a party and a time capsule and slideshow, and the students write a letter to their parents. It's quite adorable, our kindergarten graduation every year at the end of the year. This is words from one of our elementary school students, 4th grade. I joined ILA during October and was welcomed kindly by my teacher and classmates. At first I was shy, however, I quickly learned to enjoy the company of everyone in the class. I made a lot of friends during the semester, and I'm glad that my parents brought me to Ignite Learning Academy. My rating is 5 out of 5 stars. We love when a student, any grade student, gives us a 5 out of 5 stars. We think that that's pretty top notch, so we liked to brag about that one. Okay, so let's specifically talk middle school, high school. As I spoke, there is a lot more offered once you get to middle school for electives, and definitely once you get to the high school level. You definitely can see math, English, science, history, but then foreign languages, music, arts, technology, etc. You'll see that all in our course list. Once you get to high school level, the students are allowed to choose a career pathway. We've got many different pathways. The one on the screen you can see here is a network system specialist. So you can see they would start with the career exploration courses first to see, like, do I really like this? The principles of information and technology. And once they finish that, then they could go into some career launcher courses, and then finally career concentrator separate courses if that's something that they really chose. That's a track that they can choose being a part of ILA when they get to high school.
And as Ms. Denman mentioned earlier, we do have many, many clubs. You can see on the screen kind of a summary of some of the clubs that we've offered in previous years. Cooking Club, of course, is a favorite at our school. They do change each year depending on the interests of our students and the teachers, but this is an example of some of the clubs that we have offered at Ignite. Ignite also has a partnership with KaiPod, and KaiPod is a in-person opportunity where our students can attend with other students. They do have an on-site learning coach available that can help support students getting logged in and attending their live sessions. They do work around our live class schedule so that they can attend our live sessions as well as participate in the activities that are being held at those KaiPod centers. It does allow them an opportunity to socialize and have friends in the area and those kinds of things. KaiPod offers a few different schedules that you can select. So you can go to their website that's listed there, or you can use that QR code to take a look at what they have available. This is Caden. This is one of our students who attends a KaiPod Learning Center in Gilbert, Arizona. So he's an advanced student who is part of our Spark program. He can take advanced classes at his own pace. He likes attending for the social experience, and he gets to process math with other students and his learning coach at the site. So that is one of our students that attends a KaiPod Center. The list of locations is up on the screen. If you are interested in attending a KaiPod Center and there is not one listed in your state or city and they're too far from you, please do still fill out a form letting them know you're interested. They take a look at all the students that have filled out forms and where they're located, and they use that to determine where they're going to open future centers. So please, if you are interested, still fill out a form if you're interested in attending one of the KaiPod locations. We do have field trips. So we have field trips in many different locations. Again, that is dependent on the state that you live in and where other students and teachers live. We have had field trips at pumpkin patches, farms, zoos, main event, museums, and all sorts of different places. So it just kind of depends on the year and where our students and teachers are located, but we do have in-person field trips, which are always fun. So for our school, we are the Bulldogs. That's our mascot, Bruno the Bulldog. We have coloring pages, as you can see there. Our colors are navy and gold. We do have all school assemblies. We do also have virtual field trips, which I didn't mention in the previous slide. But we do have those that are hosted all sorts of different things. We had one of our teachers is a volunteer firefighter. So she just did a firefighter overview and field trip on that. We did one to a marine museum. So all sorts of fun things, even if you're not in a location where we have physical field trips. And we do have class parties as well. Our students play a fun game, Where is Bruno? So Bruno has been many places, as you can see here, to the World Cup, on cruises, to state capitals, to Miss Universe contests. So all sorts of places. We have like a Bruno plush that goes, and then also some of our students will even just take a Bruno coloring page to those locations. So Bruno has been all over, and it's a fun little thing that our students do at our school. We do have private Facebook groups for our parents. So we have one big one with all of our parents, and then we have location specific. So if you're in Arizona or Texas or the Northeast or the Southeast, you can join different Facebook groups and connect with other people in your area, ask questions. You can schedule meetups with people in your area, all sorts of things. So we do have those available to our parents as well. And I will turn it back over to Ms. Denman to talk about Spark.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Peterson. Okay, so now that's like the big, what is ILA in general, a lot of information for you. Now we're going to specifically go into our Spark program. SPARK is an acronym. It stands for Supporting Potential and Advanced Readiness in Kids. And this is for our profoundly gifted PG students. So let's dive into this program. This is one of our parents, Megan M. After my child's first day in Mrs. Ferrier's language arts class, he burst into my room, eyes lit up, so excited for the fall poetry class that he had just experienced. He danced around the room, told me about the breakout rooms with his friends, and recited from memory his poem and those of his partners. It was truly wonderful to see this type of inspiration after a class, and it is one of the many reasons why we're so happy to have chosen Ignite. That I'll never forget that day. That was so sweet. This was a new family at the time. They had just joined us. They've been with us for a couple of years now. And she said, my student's passion is back. So this is just one example of special classes, but I'll go into like, what does a day in a life look like for a Spark student? So when you are a part of Spark, you actually get something that is included in your tuition that we think is very special, that will help their advanced learner schedule of courses. So Arizona State University has something called the Universal Learner Program. And this really is set apart from other programs that are concurrent enrollment. So many people have heard of concurrent enrollments where you can be earning college credit while you're also receiving high school credit, whether middle school, high school, whenever they're ready for it. Our Spark students are really set apart that they start earlier. Some of them do. But the cool thing about this one is we will pay the fee for you if you're a part of our Spark program. So no additional cost to convert it to college credit. But you only convert to the college credit if you're pleased with the final grade. And that is something that is very set apart from other concurrent. So they'll get their high school credit grade, of course, what they earned, but some students, let's say they earned a B. And students are like, no way, like I'm devastated. There's no way I want to be on my college transcript. They don't have to choose to put it on their college transcript if they don't want to. Many of our students do. They end up doing very well in those, but you don't have to do it. It is teacher-led, and they do have self-paced options or teacher-led options, so you get to choose which one. And if you do choose the teacher-led or the self-paced, they're all governed and taught by the ASU faculty themselves, not our staff. However, we do always like to tell our students that since we are your school, like our math teachers will have office hours. You can go and talk with them. Like our teachers are still their teachers. So let's say they're taking their math class through the ASU Universal Learner Program. They're going to go to that teacher of record for most of everything, but they can still lean on our math teachers. I always like them to know that. Okay, another thing that sets the Spark program apart is the junior great books and great books. So this is a wonderful program if you haven't heard of this. This is in addition to their English language arts course that they're enrolled in. They will get physical materials and workbooks for this, but it's a shared inquiry, so very Socratic. They actually have a specific class where they meet at least once a week, sometimes more, where they will be having their great books time. I'm not sure if you've heard of this, but the students love this, especially those that are very, very into debate or very into their English language arts and literature. They get to share their own opinions and find things in text. It's very, very deep and wide and rich thinking with the text. I have had just a handful of instances where we've had profoundly gifted students come to us that want to be in the Spark program, and they are amazing with STEM or science or math, and they are not. Maybe they're even twice exceptional when it comes to English language arts, and they ask if they can actually skip this part of Spark. That's where the individualization comes in. Absolutely. This doesn't have to be a part of the package in Spark if you don't want it to be, but it is something that many of our families actually love. But if for some reason your child is like, oh, I'm like profoundly gifted in math or science, but definitely not in ELA, we can leave this part out. Beast Academy is what we use in place of general education math. This is our Spark gifted math through the elementary school. Our students will use Beast Academy. They absolutely love it. I think that our parents would be very upset if I ever took this away. They also get physical materials provided, and it's specifically designed and created for gifted learners for mathematics. Very engaging. They're like little monstery looking beasts. I guess that's what they are. But it's a very, very wonderful way for them to go deep and wide with their math enrichment. And we basically structure it with which levels they're on. So it doesn't necessarily go by grade level. We do give them a placement test, and then we start them there, and then they have to fulfill a certain requirement of chapters for their grade. Okay, so the overall Spark program experience, the real seller for our parents on this program is that the students are actually engaged in socializing with their own intellectual peers. So that's a big one for Spark students. Many times Spark students really like adults, or they like working with students that are older, and it's mostly because of that intellectual level. You can find here, if you have a 7th grader, maybe there's other 7th graders that are working at the actual intellectual ability level, and they really like that. They get to do a lot of collaboration with their own peers that think the way they do. We do live project-based learning, PBL. I'll talk about that in a minute with our passion projects and with our capstones that they do yearly. We talked about the great books in the Beast Academy. There's specific competitions that they can enroll in if they would like. So let's say your student is really, really into math. There's very specific competitions that our school has done very well in. One of our Spark students actually just took first place in Math Olympiad. So, and we have some students that just finished MathCon. Are they there right now, or are they just finishing MathCon? Are they there right now? So those specific competitions, and we did Future City, those are all through Spark. So if your student has specific interests to get actually involved and work on real life problems, those are competitions they can be a part of. And then we also allow some of our Spark older students to mentor the younger students, and there's a mentorship program that they can opt into. I want to dive in a little bit deeper to this slide and basically walk through their day in a life that's different than the one that I spoke to earlier, though. So our Spark students get more. I don't think we have an example slide of that, do we, Nicole? So I'm going to speak to it now. More than what you saw earlier, our Spark students get more of an opportunity to meet. So many, I would say, it's probably 50-50. I would say half of our Spark students don't choose to go to their live direct instruction classes, because typically many of the schedule, most of those classes, it comes very easy to them. So they can just log into the Canvas learning management system, and they can get their math and get their ELA and get all of that done without going to the live class. I would say the other 50% are like, no, we like the engagement. We want to be with the class learning it. So we're going to do all of it. So the real difference is these students get full access to all of the live classes. So a 7th grader would be able to go to their level math class, their level English class, science, social studies, electives, with other peers that might be older than them. But then they also get invited to their Spark class that is just self-contained. So that's where the self-contained portion of it comes. They meet twice a week for Spark homeroom, and then they do PBL, passion project time, on Fridays. So you can guarantee that 3 times a week outside of what's being offered to them in their courses will be just for Spark. And those are very, very important. They're actually mandatory. So if you choose Spark, you don't have to mandatorily go to their live synchronous classes for math, let's say, but you do need to go to the Spark live homeroom classes or passion project time. And the real reason why is because it's dependent on the whole group. So like they're working on capstone projects. It's very important that they touch base with their group and their teacher that they're working on the capstone, because they do peer edit reviews. They are doing lots of things around their year-long capstone. And then in addition to that, even in their homeroom time, the projects that they're working on. One big thing that we've noticed, most Spark students might come to us struggling with collaboration, and that's a big goal that we work on. Many of them are like, it would be easier for me to just do the project on my own. And we get that. Well, we're putting them with their intellectual peers, and we want them to learn that soft skill. That is a skill that they will need in life. So we actually have them engaging with each other to not just have to work independently all the time. Okay, so this is what we believe about gifted students. It's one of the biggest reasons why our CEO even founded our school, was to support gifted students, because we saw a lot of students not being supported in our educational degrees or careers. So gifted children deserve an opportunity to deeply explore their areas of interest. We really believe that. Gifted children deserve to learn something new every single day. You don't find that in some schools. They tend to be the helpers or given busy extra work, and we do not do that here. Gifted children must be provided new exploratory ways of learning rather than just simply being assigned more work. Gifted children need an intellectual peer. Gifted children have many non-academic needs, and wraparound support is needed to nurture the whole child. So that's something we're very passionate about. You'll notice we give a lot of support just specifically to our Spark community. There's a lot that goes on with gifted students that parents have struggles that non-gifted parents don't understand. So our gifted community of parents is probably one of our strongest arms of our school. You'll notice we'll have even special parent meetings for you guys to talk about some hot topics, because we realize, you know, maybe some of your friends that have neurotypical students are like, oh, must be nice, so easy that you have a gifted child. And I mean, there really are their own slew of challenges that are just opportunities of like, how can we, that no one else understands. So we do understand that. So Spark qualifications, how to get into our program. You can use IQ, a full scale IQ of 125 or higher. The COGAT test, we also will take 95% in any one area or a prior school placement in any gifted program. So that's kind of how you get into that self-contained program. And then if you have any data that you already have about your student being placed in a program, we'll definitely take that into consideration. Okay, our enrollment is open for next school year. We're super excited. We're already building new classes with new students, which is really exciting for us. So we do have availability in both in our Spark program, which is, I know, what you're here for today. So if you have any questions on how to enroll and what's next, I think we've got a slide for that. And Nicole, do you want to speak to this side? She's our enrollment queen along with Mrs. Meeker.
Yeah, so you can, if you are interested in enrolling, you can just go to our website, which is ignitelearningacademy.com. And then up in the top corner, there's a button that says apply. And then you'll just submit an application. And then there's actually an application and an enrollment packet. So there's 2 steps that you'll need to complete, with us sending you something in the middle of those. So that's kind of how the enrollment process works. And Miss Meeker or myself are able to help you if you have any questions with that. And then I will jump to the tuition for Spark and Fire. So this is what the tuition is for our Fire and Spark programs. So for elementary, it's $9,000 for the full year. Middle school is $10,000 for the full year. And then high school is $11,000 for the full year. And that is actually the end of our presentation. So thank you so much for attending today.